All right, welcome back. Now, today we have a lot of conversations that we're going to have on the set this morning. Very important conversations that we're going to get into. But before we get into all of that, don't forget that this show is interactive. We do want to hear from you. Send us your messages. All right, 0550585832. Of course, this show is sponsored by Creamy Plus. And this beautiful set here was provided for us by Decor Zone. You can get in touch with Decor Zone. They are in the Wager area. Yes. Just as you go to the top of the hill after the West Hills Mall, they are over on the left of the highway. So you can go over there and get the numbers on your screen as well. Get in touch with them. Beautiful sets for your home, offices, wherever you want.
They've got everything, everything decor, furniture, decorative pieces. Beautiful stuff, as you can see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alrighty. So, it is Valentine's Day, but doesn't mean that we are not looking at what's going on across the country. Okay, now we'll be taking a trip to Lamashegu.
Yes.
To see what happened there with the shooting at the Chief's Palace. Now, the police are on top of this, but let's take a look at this report by our colleague Dinah Ngon.
The bullet on the unregistered Toyota Camry vehicle parked at the Lamashegu Chief's Palace. According to eyewitnesses, the occupants of the vehicle drove to the Lamashegu Chief's Palace for refuge following the chase by the police. The police is alleged to have shot into the vehicle, injuring an occupant. Some youth of Tamale subsequently took to the streets in the process, burnt car tires, wood on some major highways in the metropolis on Sunday afternoon. The agitated youth even pelted stones at the police patrol team who were on the scene to restore calm. Speaking to City News, a traditional leader, Sana Alhaji Abdul Latif, said he considers the action of the police officer as an attack on the palace.
I am speaking from a layman's point of view, and I think that the shooting was too early. The shooting was too early. At least once the guy was running to the palace, we all know in Dagbon, for that matter, other jurisdictions all over Dagbon, when you are being chased, it is only the chief palace that you run to for refuge. So the guy was running to the palace for refuge. So they should have taken their time, followed him to the palace. The chief will listen, and if it is that, we release the vehicle to the police for the necessary action to be taken. They take it. But shooting the boy, we are all lucky that he's not dead. But I mean, it's too early yet. We don't know what will happen by tomorrow. So that is why you see everybody here. They are here to, give support to the chief, and for that matter, to defend the land of Tamale.
Meanwhile, the assemblyman for Lamakara electoral area, Abubakar Husseini, who is a brother to the victim, spoke about the condition of the victim.
Actually, I had a call somewhere around 12:30 from a brother of mine who told me that one of my brothers has been shot at the Lamashegu Palace. So I asked him what happened. He said he don't know. So I quickly rushed to the Lamashegu Palace. The tension there was too much, so I couldn't even ask what happened. So I managed to enter to the chief palace. So I went to the chief and asked him what happened. And he told me that one of the boys has been shot. He couldn't identify the boy. So I should quickly rush to the TTH to see how far the guy is doing. So I went there, and the guy happened to be my brother. So I asked them what happened. And they told me that they were driving towards Griko when they saw the policeman with arms on the road. So the policeman asked them to stop. So they also turned and decided not to stop. They were running with their vehicle, and the policeman too was chasing them. So I thought they are running towards the chief police to save themselves. And the man too followed them around to the chief police and shot them. He shot the thigh and then the back of the vehicle. Currently, the guy is doing well. They should be angry, but we are just appealing to them to exercise patience while we engage the police and see how we can solve the problem. Because I don't see why the policeman should follow even if the guy is a criminal. The guy is enter a chief police. The chief will hand him over, like how he handed the policeman over to them peacefully.
There is currently a joint police and military presence in the area to prevent further violence. In a media interview, the Lamashegu Divisional Police Commander, Chief Superintendent George Yeboah Afari, noted that the police officer at the center of the disturbance has been invited by the regional police headquarters for questioning.
Following that information, in fact, I asked my driver to drive straight to Lamashegu's palace. When we got there, the crowd was not by the chief and his elders, but by the youth around. Good. I entered and he said, your man was nearly to be lynched, but he has been brought inside, so find a means to take him away. I then called our patrol team, the FPU, to come, and they came and then whisked all of us away to the regional police headquarters. At the headquarters, I decided to go to the Tamale Teaching Hospital to look or to see the victim it was alleged was hit by a bullet. I went there, and in fact, I saw a 24-year-old man who was on the sick bed. In fact, according to him, or according to reports earlier on, he had been hit with a bullet in the hip. I went there with an investigator. He took pictures of him, and indeed it was a bit of confirmed that he had been hit. And doctors were on him, working on him, and he was also responding to treatment. There and then I decided to come back and then prepare for the other assignment, which is to be with the Vice President's convoy. On getting to the office here, I saw that the youth of Lamashegu, they have massed up on the streets, burning ties, throwing stones at whoever is passing. So the men positioned themselves and were able to repel them to a distance. But information I am receiving now is that this night, the whole police station is going to be razed down. So that is how come you have seen the military and then the police well positioned. So we are waiting to see whatever happens hereafter. The policeman is at the regional headquarters right now. We have placed him at the regional headquarters. It is investigations and further interrogation that will bring that thing out. If I should stay here, stand here and then tell you that he did this or he did that, I will be off track until proper investigation, proper interrogation takes place.
All right, so that's a report there from Lamashegu in Tamale, and it's very, very disturbing. You know, there are multiple layers, Kokwi, of what's in this story that we have here. I feel like, okay, well, you know what? Our reporter is on the line. Mm-hmm. Let's find out from her what the story on the ground actually is. Diana, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well.
And happy Val's Day to you.
Thank you. Happy Val's Day.
All right. So give us a better sense of what really happened. Question, first one is, why were they chasing the man, first of all?
That's the question we are still asking from the police, but they are unable to tell us exactly the reason for those police officers chasing the young man yesterday. But the information we had from the residents who were around during the shooting said he was in an unregistered vehicle driving around the Great Shogu town road.
Yeah.
When he was asked to stop by the police, but he refused. So he was chased, and the guy drove to the Lamashegu Chief's palace. When he stopped there, the police followed up and shot him through the car.
Okay.
So the bullet hit his thigh, and he was rushed to the police, the Tamale Teaching Hospital. And
who rushed him there?
The community.
Okay.
The residents rushed him to the Tamale Teaching Hospital.
Okay.
So in the process, we understand the police officer in person has to be protected by the Lamashegu chief because the youth nearly lynched him. And from the Lamashegu Divisional Police Commander, when he got there, they had to call the patrol team to take them from the crowd there. And after this incident, some youth got agitated, came out on the street and started shouting stones, burning tires on the street. So during that incident, there was a clash between the police and some residents. And later we understand about 9 persons sustained gunshot wounds were also rushed to the Tamale Teaching Hospital.
Okay.
So now the police are not commenting on any death, but at the hospital last night, we understand one person is dead. But the police is yet to confirm that.
Did you say one person lost their life?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All
so
right. Yeah.
The police is yet to speak on that. But the hospital, even though they will not speak to us on record, but that's the information we got at the Tamale Teaching Hospital last night. And for now, the rest are receiving treatment. So yesterday, as at 8 p.m., some of the victims were there still having received any treatment from doctors. The doctors and the relatives were complaining of delays at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. But for this morning, the situation in Lamashegu is calm, but there's security presence at the Lamashegu police station monitoring the situation on the ground.
Yeah. What do you know about the threat to burn down the police station?
The threat to burn, usually when there's this class, you hear you saying we are going to burn down the police station. Sometimes it's not even the police station. We are going to burn down radio stations and all that. When they hear that, they are not comfortable with.
Yeah.
So they fighting. And because of that, yesterday, the military had to come in to restore calm. But as of this morning, we know that the Lamashegu police station is still intact. They've not gone there to touch it. So.
Okay. So basically, there are two incidents that have happened here, which are related. One is a reaction to the initial incident of the police chasing down a driver who was going to the palace for refuge, right?
Yes.
And okay, now the chief's palace seems to be the place where the very same police also then sought refuge.
Yes, please.
Wow. Okay. All right. Diana, thank you very much for this update. We appreciate your time. Thank you. All right. So, yeah. Okay. This is
this
next
is
level crazy on different level. I mean,
there are so many things to dissect, and hopefully we'll get more people to speak to. And the police have issued a statement on this this morning. Actually, it is dated 14 February 2022, and it says, following an initial investigation into the shooting incident at Lamashegu in Tamale involving the Tamale District Patrol Team, the police administration has interdicted the following police officers involved.
Okay.
And it goes on to list them: General Corporal Samson Kweku Darfour, General Corporal Prosper Mosemu, General Constable Harrison Chum Danso Driver, General Constable Matthew Sa, General Constable Nuhu Muntari, and Constable Doris Sewabonsu. The police administration has also dispatched a team of investigators led by the Deputy Director General of the Criminal Investigations Department, DCOP Mr. Frederick Ejay, to lead the investigation into the matter. Personnel from the Police Professional Standards Bureau have also been detailed along the CID team to look at professional standard related issues of the incident. The Northern Regional Police Commander has has been tasked to liaise with the affected families and offer them the necessary support in line with police regulations. We are appealing to the people of Lamashegu and the entire Tamale metropolis to remain calm as the investigation continues into the unfortunate occurrence. We'd like to assure the public that anybody found culpable will be dealt with according to the law. And it is signed by the Director General of Public Affairs, DCOP Kwesi Ofori. So that's the latest statement from the police on the incident. 6 officers interdicted.
Yeah. So a number of things come to mind. One of the foremost is the issue of training. Yeah. So, you know, last week we had a conversation again about police and police reaction to things. And one of the things that the Bureau of Public Safety, Nanaya Akwada, mentioned was the issue of the training to de-escalate situations, right? Because it's not, you know, some people say, oh, the training is not long enough. I don't think that's the issue. For me, it's more about a mindset of de-escalation, right? I have found myself in a situation where I was not the driver of the vehicle. I was with a friend, right? She's driving, I'm in the passenger seat, and the police stops us.
Okay.
No problem, we stop. Ask a few questions, no problem, the answers are given. But he's not satisfied with the answer. And then she says, listen, this is an office vehicle. You will have to get in touch with the people at you'll get in touch with people at my office for them to give you clarification on the answers you are seeking. But all the registration details, everything is there, right? So with that information given, then what happens is that he's not satisfied with the answers that have been given. And my friend is like, you know what? It doesn't matter. If this is the right protocol, you have to deal with this. Go and talk to the people who are in charge. I've given you numbers. They have the registration details on the vehicle, whatever else. Then she proceeds to engage the gear to drive off. This guy cocks his gun.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm serious. Yes, a roadside stop. He cocks his gun. And fortunately, a senior officer, senior to this guy, comes up on the scene, finds out what's going on, and he says, look, there's no issue here. You just drive on. And the guy proceeds to raise his gun at us, even with a senior officer there. Do you understand? So for me, this is one of the things that we need to be looking at. Okay, and the IGP has a lot of work on his hand because his men are everywhere in the country. Yeah. A lot of them there's frustration, you know, but you can't bring your frustration from wherever onto the streets. You can't.
And do they do like temperament evaluation?
I'm not sure there's enough.
Well, we've got the Northern Regional Minister. We'll come back to this. We've got the Northern Regional Minister on the line, Mr. Shani Al Hassan Shaibu. So we're going to talk to him and see what the latest is from his camp. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us on Breakfast Daily.
And thank you for having me on.
It's a pleasure. Now, we know that you're quite busy this morning, especially looking at the events unfolding in Lamashegu. But we just wanted to touch base with you to see what the latest is. Now, we've seen the statement from the police saying that 6 police officers have been interdicted in connection with this incident. And we want to find out from you if there's any further updates and any action that's going to be taken from your end to mitigate any retribution or anything of that nature with regard to the issue.
Okay. Thank you for having me on session. It's my pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.
Yesterday, when this thing happened, it was an issue of traffic offense that resulted to a police brutality that led one person to be injured. I know there's rumor that somebody died and what. It's not true. This guy who was hit by the bullet is not dead.
Okay.
He's in high spirits in hospital. Even though he's still in the hospital, he hasn't been discharged. So this morning, the vice president is still around, and I think that until he leaves later in the day, I may not be able to do any effective thing because the situation has been calm. Yesterday there were skirmishes that took place between the youth of Lamashegu and the police. but calm has been restored. And these police who were involved in this thing has been interdicted. But I have also called for a RECSEC meeting this morning to deliberate on this situation, the proper and appropriate sanctions that will be meted out. Because we realize that this is the third in the series of police involvement with the youth in the metropolis. And I think that this is not a good sign. And that something must be done to calm down the nerves and to normalize the situation.
Right.
The police-civilian relationship is supposed to be a cordial one. And of late, issues have come out that have generated into this bloodshed that we are always seeing. I don't think it's good. So it's proper that we have RECSEC this morning, and by mid-morning we would have had RECSEC so that we would deliberate on this issue.
Talk to us about the significance of the chief's actions in this situation. So we've already heard that not only was the chief responsible for preventing things from escalating further, but he actually protected one of the officers who the youth were going to attack. How important were the chief's actions in maintaining what we'll call relative calm here? Because the police, we know, are the ones who are supposed to maintain peace and stability and law and order. But in this case, they found themselves almost, getting into conflict. And the chief was the one who was able to maintain things there. Talk to us about his actions and how they've helped in this situation.
In fact, the chief, I do not even know how to commend the chief enough to satisfy myself. Because the chief had shown, he had played a role that was supposed to be played by the police rather, by preventing this crime to be committed. In fact, but for the intervention of the chief, the police officer would have been lynched. Because when the guy was hit and he fell, everybody thought he was dead. And that was spontaneous. The response was spontaneous. But for the insistence of the chief that this was an accident and nobody needed to do anything to further escalate the situation, the guy would have been killed. And the chief deserves a lot of commendation. He is a traditional, he has been in the system of Tamale for a very long time. He used to be the region of Lamashegu, finally being installed as a Lamashegu now, that is a suburb of Tamale. And significantly, two of these issues that have happened with these confrontations that happened between the police have always happened in his area. So I think he has learned a lot of lessons from previous things that happened. And that helped him to be able to protect the life of this policeman. In fact, it was him who called for police reinforcement and to even rescue the police officer. And his palace was a subject of attack.
So just very quickly, again, you're chairman of RECSEC for your region.
Yes.
What do you want to see happen? This was something that could have escalated again very quickly. Now we have calm, but you've made reference to past incidents as well. How do you want to see the tension between civilians and police resolved in your region?
The maintenance of law and order depends on the acceptance of law and order, which we have no option to. We have to be law-abiding. This vehicle that was in question, that sparked this whole issue, was an unregistered vehicle, which was stopped. And 2 days ago, the police had they had an operation around the stadium, Ali Mama Stadium forest. There's a forest around that area. The police had a swoop there, arrested about 42 people who are yet to be screened today. Took over so many illegal things, guns, machetes, and all sort of things. And yesterday they were doing a random surveillance around that area. It was that area they met this vehicle. And this vehicle, these guys, the occupants of this vehicle, saying that they were approaching a police vehicle, turned. So it gave the police some level of suspicion. And they wanted to know, but why has this resonated these days? So it sparked off and they had to chase him. Even though the police action to, may I say, irresponsible enough, didn't have to do that. Because once he was speeding away, they could have found an alternative rather than firing at the vehicle. Because they were occupants of the vehicle and anything could have happened. So these are all the issues that RECTEC is going to deliberate on and to come out with, to propose some solutions that we will think will bring calm and relative calm to the city.
All right. Minister, just one final question. The general relation between police and the general public, aside of this incident, what is that like? And then just comment on your recommendations towards maybe the police in terms of them not escalating issues when they come into situations like this.
Currently, I expect the police to make a statement to the general public. Calming down the tension, even though the situation is calm, but the police still have to make a statement to reassure people that what happened was just an accident and it's not going to happen. Furthermore, the police too should not say because of this incident they are going to let law and order loose for people to take the law into their own hands. They should be fair in executing the law, because law is law. Law is meant for everybody. You infringe on the law must take its course.
All right.
So that is my advice to the police. And I think that before we come out of RECTEC, the police PR department would have made a statement reassuring people about the existence of law and order and the enforcement of law and order in the city. Because Tamale is not a small place. These things occasionally are bound to happen, but they shouldn't happen on the level that it is happening currently. I am not happy that lives are being threatened by the actions of some police officers. We have good police officers in the system who are capable of taking control of situations like this. Sometimes exuberance may always happen in some instances where you find out that people will be shooting indiscriminately. That is not acceptable. Police training should be enhanced. I also believe that the police can receive regular training in this instance so that we can avoid those situations.
All right, Minister, finally, I said finally earlier on, but just one more. Would RECTEC be recommending specific punishments for those officers that have been interdicted? Because we often tend to hear of interdictions, but we don't hear of consequent punishments for their actions.
That is a decision that RECTEC will be taking. I am not RECTEC. I'm just a member of RECTEC, probably the chairman of RECTEC. So when we deliberate on these things, RECTEC would have come out with the required sanctions or punishment that will be exerted to the police officers.
Thank you very much.
We
appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
All right, so that was the Northern Regional Minister, Shani Al-Hassan Shaibu, just giving us an update on the situation in Lamashegu. And he was very clear in his words, saying that what the police did was police brutality. And it's interesting, again, the role of the chief in this. This could have gone...
It would have been a different story this morning.
It would have been a different story
this
if
morning.
not for the chief's actions. And I'm glad that he commended him and talked about the role that the chief has played, not just in this incident, but in previous incidents as well. But it's concerning and something to watch. This delicate relationship between civilians and the police.
And it doesn't need to be. I know this. I know the area of Chogu. I know Lamashegu. I've lived in Tamale for a little bit, so I know that area well. The people of Tamale are very, very, calm and relaxed, chilled out, minding their own business, not. So for this to happen, you've done something, and it's like it's building. Because there's history. We are. It's not just this incident. Something else is,
is going on.
Is going on here. So Tamale is one of those places that literally you can walk at any time of the night, just feel free, and you know. So it's not. There's no reason for what we are seeing now, except that they need to try and de-escalate and come back and pull back a bit.
And we also need to point out, as the minister said, that nobody has died as a result of this. That yes, the gentleman who was shot is injured, but there have been no fatalities. Because you know that's one thing that I think people are saying, that somebody has died, but currently nobody has died as a result of this incident.
Yeah.